What's up, guys? Jesse Conn from Pro Play Games Ultra Pro here, and I'm here with Matthew Vanden Heuvel, who just plays top 32 YCS San Diego.
Yes. I played a Spiral Magician deck, and I'll show you sort of how it worked out. I played the 3 Super Agents, and pretty standard combo piece. The Boss Monster Sleeper, the 1 Master Plan, 1 Quick Fix, 1 Drone, and 1 Last Resort. Those are all pretty self-explanatory. That was it for the Spiral monsters. Then for hand traps, I played 1 Max C, the 3 Ash, and 3 Droll, which are pretty standard for this format. All of them are obviously amazing. And then right last minute for the deck, I upped the hand trap count to 10 and played the 3 Gammas and the 1 Driver, because in playtesting I was getting ashed a lot and it was starting to really piss me off. Like when I played my power spells or Droll, it's so easy to bait Ash and Droll without normal summoning in this deck, so I figured the Gammas were going to work out, and for the most part they were pretty good, but obviously come with the downside of the Driver sometimes. Then for the Pendulum engine, I played 3 copies of Supreme King Dragon Dark Worm. This card was extremely good all day because its Pendulum effect allows it to essentially be a 1-card scale 0 to 5 with the Supreme King Gate 0.
Oh damn, it's a 0? So you can summon Quick Fix?
Yeah, you can summon Quick Fix, and then it can search you Drone or whatever and normal summon it, so it's a 1-card, just the one. It basically acts as a double summon there.
Cool.
Or you can summon the Drone, obviously. And there's a bunch of cool plays you can do, I'll show later with the extra deck with just 1 Spiral monster. And then you can only Pendulum summon dark monsters if you use a scale effect, but you can normal summon it or summon it back from the grave with its monster effect and search this out, and then you don't have that restriction, which obviously is important because the only dark Spiral is Master Plan. Then I played 2 copies of Harmonizing Magician, 2 copies of Purple Poison, and 1 copy of Black Fang Magician. I played around with the ratios a lot, but 5 is really the best number where you don't draw too many magicians, but you still have enough to resolve Pendulum calls and Harmonizing very consistently. I also played 2 copies of Skull Crobat Joker, and I played 1 copy of Wisdom Eye, which I took out of the deck. I forgot that I took it out of the deck, and it's somewhere, but I played 1 copy of Wisdom Eye. It's not here anymore because as soon as the tournament was over, I cut it out of the deck immediately to play side events, because it was awful. It was basically a last minute addition because sometimes, or very frequently, I would have hands where I would be Pendulum summoning, but nothing would be coming out of the extra deck. And I figured the 1 Wisdom Eye would help that, but not being dark actually took away from a lot of the plays because you can't Pendulum summon it when you use Supreme King's scale effect, and you can't use it to make this fusion monster that I make for a lot of my combos. So it was pretty awful, and I don't think I should have played it. If anything, it should have been another Skull Crobat or just nothing at all because I was playing 44 in the main, which was literally just the Psy frames I added right at the last minute. Then for spell cards, I played the 3 Resort and the 3 Terraformings. That's extremely self-explanatory, I think. And the 1 Big Red for the Spirals with 1 for 1 and Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial was for the Spirals, but also for the Dark Worm because it can summon itself from the grave and get the scale 0, which also can bait Droll, in which case you can just normal summon a level 4 and make Baguska, which is pretty solid under that situation. And the last spells I played were 3 copies of Pendulum Call. This card is amazing for baiting Ash so that my Helix play will go through, but if they didn't have Ash, then it was just the nuts because you'd discard ideally Dark Worm with it, summon Dark Worm out, and then get the scale 0, and this would search for these two 8-scale pendulums, and you keep harmonizing in hand to make a power play. And then I played the 1 rescue as a trap card. Pretty standard.
You don't like utility wire?
Utility wire is basically an unnecessary brick card in the deck. Like, it has plays, but with so many less searches from Quick Fix in the game, I just didn't see it coming up very often.
And you felt like the pendulum spell and trap were the same?
Yeah, like I tested with Time Pendulum Graph, and as powerful as that card is, you really have to play a lot more pendulum cards for it to be relevant. And it just made it too bricky, I found.
Okay.
So for the extra deck, a lot of the combos revolved around this card. Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom. So you can make this with any 2 Dark Pendulum monsters. So you can use the Dark Worm card, or you could, when you pendulumed out the Harmonizing, you could bring out another monster from the deck and make this. And the reason this card is so good is because it allows you to turn your 1-card spiral hands into a full spiral combo by copying the name and effect of any monster on the field or graveyard. So when you pendulum summoned, you would bring out, like, ideally Drone, or like you could activate Agent in hand, and even if you miss, you can pendulum summon it out with Harmonizing, make this, and then the copies Super Agent's name, and then link summon for the Helix, which would give you the full combo, which was really, really cool and added like a lot of synergy to the deck. Also, it just randomly gives all your monsters piercing for their turn, which comes up sometimes, but it's pretty cool. There's a lot of other plays that you can do with it, like copying Omega, and
yeah, you can copy your opponent's Helix in the grave.
Yeah,
right?
or you can copy like Masterpiece or something ridiculous, and just or even a Sleeper in the grave if it's.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, it has a lot of really cool interactions.
Did you ever get cherries and steal their Helix with it?
That happened one time.
That's
and
cool.
it was pretty funny, actually, because I was able to search Sleeper off of it and then still just beat him. Then for Synchros, I played the 1 Omega because a lot of times it's just the best option to make with Harmonizing. If you already have an ability to make Helix, you make the Omega, put your opponent with less cards, applies pressure with that, and a lot of times when you get drolled, you can still make a powerful pendulum play, so you can still make Omega and Baguska, which is a pretty solid play. And then I played the 1 Ignister. That card also pretty self-explanatory, dealing with problems. Then for Exceeds, I played 1 Baguska, 1 Tornado Dragon, 1 Trapeze Magician, and the Utopia package. This came up a lot. Like,
really?
This card was fantastic all day against a lot of different decks. I mean, 5,000 attack and basically negating effects is obviously amazing. Tornado Dragon also came up a lot. I thought Trapeze would come up more, but it only really came up in one play that I didn't see until after the game, where I could have OTK'd someone, but...
it's also going to be against Trickstar, right?
Well, that was one reason I decided to play it, but it's kind of hard to beat that deck with this card because usually they are trying to stop you from setting up your scales with their reincarnations, and then pendulum summoning out the magicians needed to make it is kind of a pain. Usually when you can make a play like that, you can just make a better play, I found. So I might cut this in the future, I don't know yet. Then for Link monsters, I played 1 Proxy Dragon, 2 copies of Double Helix, 1 Decode Talker, 1 Firewall, and 1 Boar Reload Dragon. Honestly, I never felt like I needed more Link monsters in the deck. I use all of them a lot, and this is by far my favorite. Boar Reload Dragon is like the greatest Link monster that exists so far, and like I made it to beat all kinds of things. Also, one time when I got Reapered, I was able to steal his Helix with this card and just destroy him. So that was pretty good. And like you can make plays like that after you like ash their helix, and then I have a lot of people will equip the last resort to it to protect it from dying, and then you drop warrior load, steal it, and just kill them with it. So that was it for the extra deck. For my side deck, I played where's the other one? I played one Scythe, one Lancia, and 3 Sanctums for when I went first. Stops most plays with Scythe, or if they try to evenly match you, you go for the Lancia. Pretty obvious stuff, I think. I played the 3 evenly matched when I go second. A lot of times in game 2, I will, if I lost, or game 3 if I lost the previous one, I will side in the evenly matched and whatever other cards are good for the matchup, and then just choose to go second to throw people off, because a lot of people side in their evenly matched and their Reapers, and then it makes their hands a lot less good. Then I sided 2 Cosmic Cyclones. Oh, this is Cosmic Cyclone. Against anything really that, like True Draco or potentially Trickstars, or anything I thought that could be siding Floodgates. I sided 1 Regeki. It didn't really come in much, but I think it was not a bad idea, because there was a potential to play against decks like Burning Abyss that played Vanity's Fiend in their side and stuff like that. I played 2 copies of Wavering Eyes for obviously Magicians, and then I played 1 Radian and 1 Humongous, which I seem to have misplaced.
Maybe use it as the Wisdom Eye.
Oh yeah, I did. You're right. Where do I put that?
You put it upside down. Yeah, there you
go. So I played the level 7s because I could Pendulum summon them out, and they dealt with Sleeper in the mirror match, which is really, really good. It won me a lot of games because before this format, when Spirals were at full power, the Kaijus weren't good enough because they'd make firewalls and a bunch of stuff, and they'd still kill you if you dropped a Kaiju over the Sleeper. But now, a lot of the time, they just go Decode Sleeper. Just outing the Sleeper is enough for the most part. And yeah, also for Masterpiece. One other thing I just realized, I was playing one more card in my extra deck, Akashic Magician, but I was borrowing it from someone, so that's why it wasn't here. And a lot of times you can make, you drop the Kaiju and then you Akashic it back to your hand, which is really cool. And yeah, that was it for the most part.
Okay, so any shoutouts?
Shoutouts to Gustavo Latari, who helped me build this deck for sure. Could not have done it without him. We did a lot of theory and playtesting, and yeah, it was very important. Also, shout out to Untouchables, my sponsor, a great store in Canada if you're ever there, the Toronto area. Definitely check it out. Shout outs to, I guess, my friends Bishop, Walters, and everyone else on this trip. It was a good time. Yeah, that's about it.
All right, thank you for the deck profile.